Hi everyone, this is Shilpa B, Canara Engineering College, Department of ISC. Today let us go for organizing tracks by sectors in file structure concept. So the data which is there in the disk, it can be organized by two ways. One is either sector and one more is user defined block. Let us go for the first one, that is physical placement of sector. We all know that the hard disk which carries the number of tracks, and that track is further divided into different several sectors. Okay, so the data will be always stored inside the sector. Sector is the smallest unit which will carry the data. Okay, so how exactly that data is stored in the sector, that is what we are going to study now. How exactly we have organized the sector inside the track. So there are two cases we have here. One is adjacent sectors and non-adjacent sector. So data stored in the adjacent two consecutive adjacent sectors, or data spread across the non-adjacent sector. What is the benefit of these two and what are the drawbacks? Okay. So this is nothing but the concept of adjacent sector and non-adjacent sector. Here you can see the track, and the track is one single track which is divided into 8 different sectors. You can see the first sector, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh and 8 different sectors you can see. Now if you consider this diagram, the read-write head of our disk is pointing to sector 1. I'll just assume in sector 1 you have record 1, sector 2 record 2, sector 3 record 3 and so on. Okay, so now all these are adjacent. 1, after that second sector, third sector, fourth sector till 8th sector. It is adjacent sectors. Initially read-write head is pointing to sector 1. Okay, now what will happen is, when read-write head is pointing to sector 1, it is going to read the data from sector 1. Okay, so the data will be read from sector 1. All the records whatever is there in the sector 1 has been read, and that needs to be transferred to the main memory. Whatever the read-write head has been read, that needs to be transferred to the main memory. So there exists some delay in the transferring data, because when you want to transfer the all data from sector 1 to the main memory, there exists a delay. Now what will happen is, after reading sector 1, I want to read the data from sector 2, right? Obviously after 1 we need to read the data from sector 2. Now when you are transferring the data from sector 1 to sector 1 to the main memory, then your disk will not wait for transferring. It will go on rotating, right? So it will rotate and it might be moving to some other sector. Say it might be moving to 4 when all the data has been transferred. So that delay we can call it as transfer delay. Okay, transfer delay is nothing but whenever a read-write head is reading data from the sector and it is going to transfer it into main memory, that time the disk has been rotated somewhere, and that delay, transferring delay, that delay we can call it as transfer delay. And now what will happen is, disk might be, the read-write head might be reading the read-write head might be pointing to the sector 4 instead of sector 2. Okay, now what exactly we want to read? We want to read from sector 2, right? So in order to read the data from sector 2, I need to rotate once again so that my sector 2 comes to the point of read-write head, pointer of read-write head. So that delay we are calling it as rotational delay. So the disk has to rotate one complete rotation in order to read the sector 2. that delay we can call it as rotational delay. Okay, so there are two types of delay now. One is transfer delay, the delay which occurs when read-write head reads the data and trying to transfer it into main memory. That is the transfer delay. And because of transfer delay, the sector which we want to read, it might not be in under the read-write head. It might be somewhere else. So in order to bring that to read-write under read-write head, then we need to rotate our disk again. That delay we can call it as rotational delay. So instead of this type of structure, this is the drawback of adjacent sector. Okay, so instead of this type of organization, let us go for non-adjacent sector, where we can reduce all these delay. Okay, if we choose non-adjacent sector properly, then we can reduce this type of delay. Okay, so what exactly is non-adjacent sector? Now say the track, this is one single track where you have different sectors. So my first sector is 1, and next I will leave 2 factor of interleaving, that is interleaving factor of 2 I am going to use. Interleaving factor in the sense I will decide how much time is needed for transfer the data from read-write head to memory. That means transfer delay occurs, right? So that transfer delay I am going to calculate. That much time I will calculate, and I will leave interleaving factor. So we need to think properly how much time is needed for transferring the data. That much time we'll leave and we go for the next particular sector. That means now my sector is 1. Say I need some time to transfer my data to the main memory. So I am going to leave that much time. So I will leave, say assume I am going to leave 2 sectors now, and here I am going to write my sector 2. Next, once again I am leaving 2 sectors. Here I am going to write my sector 3. Again leave through 2 sectors. I am going to write my sector 4. Again leave 2 sectors. I am going to write my sector 5. Again leave 2 sectors, 6. Leave 2 sectors, 7. Leave 2 sectors. I am writing 8. Now what I have done is I am choosing wisely interleaving factor of 2. It might not be 2, it depends on the structure of your disk. It might be 3, it might be 4, it might be anything. Okay, that thing we have to decide. So in my example, let us see that if I leave 2 sectors, then there might not be any rotational delay. So I will decide my interleaving factor. Okay, now here if we do like this, what will happen? Now read-write head, initially it is reading the data from sector 1. Now it is going to transfer it into the main memory. So here transfer delay occurs, right? When transfer delay occurs, that time usually in the previous structure what happened, if instead of 2 we have read the data from 4, right? But here what will happen, when transfer delay occurs, disk is going on rotating, right? So disk is rotating. So instead of the next sector, it will rotate and might be the second sector will come on to the read-write head. Say here, second sector has come on to the read-write head. Now what will happen? After reading 1, we are reading 2 only, because this much is covered in your transfer delay itself. This much has been covered. So there is no rotational delay. So we need not rotate one more time in order to reach to our desired sector, right? So that is why we can avoid the rotational delay. Transfer delay, obviously it will be there because we want to transfer that data from disk to our memory, right? So transfer delay will be there, but we can avoid the rotational delay in the case of non-adjacent sector. But the thing is, we need to choose the interleaving factor very intelligently so that the entire track can be read with the few rotations. Okay, so that is the designer's part. We need to think what interleaving factor we need to put in our structure. So that we need to decide intelligently. So this is about the sector organization. Now let us see what is cluster. Organizing the tracks by sector, it is next step we have is cluster. So cluster is nothing but group of sector. I can call it as cluster. So a cluster, it is a fixed number of contiguous sectors. Okay, so what exactly the benefit of this cluster? Now if you know that we have some data which is spread over different sectors, say I have my data which is spread over some 4 different sector, I know that previously. Now what I need to do, I need to read all these data which is spread in the 4 different sector. So if we go for normal sector organization, what will happen? 4 times I need to seek. 4 times I need to jump to each sector, right? So 4 seeks will be there. Now we know already that we have our data in 4 different sectors. So what I am going to do is I will club those 4 different sectors into one single cluster. Okay. Now after clubbing, in one seek I can access all those data together, because now we have clubbed these sector data into one single cluster. So go to that cluster directly and get all the data together. So that is the concept of cluster. It is the combination of sector. If you know already whatever data is there, that we need to read. If you know whichever data we want to access, then you can club those data together into one single cluster, so that your number of seeks will be reduced. So in this particular cluster organization, we have the concept of file allocation table. So file allocation table, it contains list of all clusters in the file. You can see this diagram over here. So you can see the file allocation table and the disk. Okay, so this is the file allocation table where you have the cluster number and the cluster location, address where exactly it present. Okay, so cluster number 1, 2, 3 and its particular address in the disk. This is a track and this is the address of cluster 1, cluster 2 and cluster 3. So directly we can get the data from this particular address. Okay, so this is about the cluster. Now let us have one more concept here, that is extent. This is once again one more step cluster. I can tell one or more adjacent cluster, it will form an extent. Okay, so here so if you have, once again, if you have lots of data to be accessed, you are going to club these clusters together into one single extent, so that you can avoid the so many number of seeks. So you can reduce the number of seeks by doing clubbing the cluster together into extent. Now you can see here there are two different ways of clubbing the cluster together. Now you can see here you have file A, which is in one single extent. You have file A, but here you can see multiple extent for file A. Here also file A, here also file A. So you can either go for this organization or this organization, that both are fine. Okay, so you can have single file that is file A, it may be stored as a single extent or it can be stored as multiple extent. It might be more than 2 also sometimes. So the file A, it can be spread in a single extent or it can be more than one extent. That is also possible if in the case of extent. Now we have the concept of fragmentation, where if there is no convenient fit between records and sectors. There are two ways to deal with this situation, that is one per record, store only one record per sector, or allow the records to span sectors, so the beginning of the record might be found in one sector and the end will be in another. So let us go for an example for this. If you consider this, here in the sector 1 you have only one record, right? So the first type of organization. So in one sector you have only one record. The next record will come in the next sector. Next record will come in the next sector. So record 1 is in sector 1, record 2 in sector 2, record 3 in sector 3. Now if you go for this organization, what will happen exactly? Here if you consider, this much of space is empty, this space is empty, and this space is empty. So these are the wastage of space, right? So we can call it as fragmentation. If you go for one record per sector, then there might be a chance of fragmentation because of waste of space. So in order to avoid this fragmentation, what we have decided is, we are not going to store one record per sector. Instead, we continuously put our record over the sectors. Now what I am going to do is, my first sector is this, first record is this in sector 1. After that I am going to keep my second record. So second record, it is of this much big, so it might not fit in sector 1. It is distributed with the sector 2 also. So this is my sector 2. Then comes record 3, which I am going to store in sector 2 itself, record 3. Once again the next space will be fitted with the record 4. Then comes record 5. So continuously we are going to fill our records without any space. So there is no fragmentation occurs. There is no wastage of space. Okay. So but that is one good thing. There is no memory loss. There is no wastage of space. But what is the disadvantage? If you go for this kind of sector organization, then suppose if you want to search record 2, then directly go to sector 2 and get your record. If you want to search record 3, directly go to sector 3, get your record, because we know that in each sector you have only one single record, right? So that is an advantage of this type of organization. You can directly go to that sector and get your data in one single access. You can get. But if you go for this type of organization, now if you want to read the sector 1, then in one single seek you can get record 1. If you want to get record 1 in one single seek, you can get. But if you want to read record 2 data, then what will happen? Record 2 is spread over two different sectors, sector 1 as well as sector 2. Now what will happen? If I want to read record 2, I need to go to sector 1 as well as sector 2, right? Both I need to go. So what will happen? There will be two seeks. So number of seeks will be more. But if I go to this sector 2, record 2, I can directly get in one single seek. Here 2 seeks are needed for record 2. That is the drawback of this type of organization. Sometimes it will be good because there is no wastage of space. But if you go for number of 6, this type of organization is bad. So that are the advantage and disadvantage of this particular type of organization. So loss of space, as I told, this is called as internal fragmentation. This loss of space, we can call it as internal fragmentation. So that is the end of this particular topic. I hope the whatever I have explained is clear. Let us meet in the next particular topic. Thank you.